Redemptive leadership really bears in mind that those that we're leading are made in the image of God. And back in Genesis, we see that when God first makes man, he makes him in his image and according to his likeness. This has really profound implications on the way that we lead because we are leading God's sons and daughters. That's crazy. If you're here today, you are God's son and you are God's daughter. If you're in Christ, you're heaven's nobility. You're not simply a volunteer, you're not a church leader, you're not a pastor, you're not someone who's leading a business or just a mom. You literally are co-heirs with Christ in the heavenlies. And this is life-changing to grasp this. And so if we are in the position of leading, whether we're leading our homes with our kids or we're leading churches with thousands, we need to stop and realize that what we're cultivating in people, what we're encouraging in people, what we're growing in people is that sense that you are God's kids. You're God's sons. You are God's daughters. You are princes and princesses in the kingdom of heaven. And this changes everything because no longer now are we going to lead people in such a way as we use them in our devices, we use them in our schemes, we use them in our systems, but rather we see them as God's sons and God's daughters, and now we act accordingly. If God entrusts you with his kids, if God entrusts you with his sons, if God entrusts you with his daughter, and more so if he entrusts you with those who he has given an inheritance of his entire kingdom, how then should you lead them? So those of us who are in this room that are called to be leaders in Christ, those of us who are called to practice this redemptive leadership, we have a precious stewardship. We've actually been entrusted with the sons and daughters of God. We find ourselves with a unique stewardship that God is saying, I'm going to entrust them to you, and I expect you to take all the blessing that I've given you, all the leadership I've given you, all the gifts that I've given you, and I expect you to bless them through it so that they might bless the whole world. So there's something profound here. There's something distinct here. There's something that's critical here for us to realize that our success as a follower of Christ, our success as a leader, is intimately bound up in their success in following Christ themselves. We're successful to the degree that we enable those who we lead to be successful to the mission of God and to live out his purposes.